decided to do a little offshore fishing on my kayak during the time when the beaches were closed to vehicle traffic. So what we had to do was we had to load up our kayaks on our kayak carts. Right now I'm using the Sea-Tug kayak cart to lug around my kayak. Kayak empty is about 80-90 pounds. So with everything that I have on my kayak right now, it's close to 140-150 pounds. So this kayak cart that I've got, it works really good on solid surfaces, but as soon as you get onto the soft sand, you'll see how I start to struggle a little bit. Got the yellow flags flying, so that's indicated the surface is a little rough. And right about right here is where the sand gets real soft. And boom. So right here at this point, my kayak just slid off my kayak cart, so I had to reset it, get it back on track, and then I'll start pulling it again. And then it fell off again, so I had to reset. It's at this point I'm a little tired because I'm having to haul around the kayak and then having to drag it through all of that soft sand. But the sand starts to get a little bit more packed down, and it starts to be a little easier for me to pull the kayak. Then I run into a couple of potholes up here, and it falls off the kayak cart again, so I decide just to drag it the rest of the way to the water. The surf is a little rough. We had just drove in all the way from San Antonio to Corpus to do some fishing, so we were already out there, and we decided to just go ahead and commit to our trip. So what I'm doing right here is I'm putting my drive in my kayak, and because the surf is so rough, we felt that it would be a lot easier just to power through with our drive. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go about waist deep in my kayak, and then I'll get on my kayak and then just start powering through those waves. Goal here is to stay head on with the waves, and right now we're in the surf, so the breakers are causing these waves, and the wind conditions aren't helping either. So what I'm doing is kind of just sitting out, letting the waves crash, and then once the wave crashes, then I'll go and start moving forward. and that's the best way for me to advance in a situation like this, or at least that's what's been working out for me. Alright, so I went ahead and engaged my drive, and I'm just going to go and power through these waves. As you can see, there's going to be some pretty big waves here that I'll come across, but I'm just going to try to sit out the majority of them, let them crash, and start powering through past them. Have any luck catching any kingfish or Spanish mackerel on the way to the oil rig. So right now I'm hooked onto a spade fish, and these fish are really fun to fight, and they're really good to eat as well, so I enjoy catching these fish. They're actually a pretty easy fish to catch if you can find them. Right now I'm just using a drop leader with a 1 ounce weight, some really small hooks. These fish have real small mouths, so with a small hook, you'll better your chances on catching these fish. And I'm just using some small pieces of cut squid to catch the fish. this point, I'm heading back in. I'm in the surf, got everything tied down on my kayak. At least I think I do. So right here at this moment, I should have just jumped out of my kayak. And well, nope, lesson learned. So even though I had the strap on my Oakleys, I did end up losing my favorite pair of Oakleys. That was the only thing that I lost when I flipped my kayak. I had everything else tethered up, and I was able to, to get everything. I even have my drive leashed up, so that drive alone is pretty expensive to lose something like that in the surf. So good thing I had that leashed up. I was able to recover that and everything else that fell off. But yeah, it was definitely a lesson learned. So the takeaway from this is, once you see that the water's about waist deep, just go ahead and jump out of your kayak and then walk it back in.